Split is often considered one of the most challenging maps in Valorant due to its heavily defender-sided nature. Despite undergoing multiple reworks and changes, the map remains a formidable challenge for players on both sides of the battlefield. Whether you're struggling to break through the defense as an attacker, or you find yourself struggling to hold on to a lead as a defender, Split can be an incredibly frustrating map to play on. Even skilled players at all ranks, from Bronze to Immortal, can struggle to succeed on Split if they don't have a solid understanding of the map's core concepts. By now, most players are likely familiar with the layout of Split, each with a primary entryway that connects to A main and B main, as well as sub-entries that lead to the bomb sites via A and B heaven. We will most likely be looking at how to improve on the attack side of things, since this tends to be way harder on Split. At first glance, it may be difficult to understand why Split is so heavily defender-sided, especially considering the map's seemingly open layout and multiple routes to each site. However, the issue lies in the narrow and easily defended choke points that attackers must navigate, particularly when facing an enemy team that effectively utilizes utility to block off these pathways. In order to make any meaningful progress, it is essential to apply pressure through mid and coordinate with your team to overcome these obstacles. Securing mid control on Split is crucial to determining which team will ultimately emerge victorious. By gaining control of mid, your team can avoid the choke points of A and B main, which can be difficult to push through, while also limiting the effectiveness of the enemy's utility and agent picks. This allows for more strategic movement and a greater chance of success when attacking or defending. Let's take a scenario that is seen all too often in almost every single Split game. I'm talking about the infamous Sage go wall mid strat on defense. My question to you at home is this wall a good or bad piece of utility? And the answer is it's only as good as the enemy team allows it to be. Let me explain. You see, on Split, attackers need to cross a specific boundary lines at A main, B main, and mid if they want any chance of winning a round. With limited options available, a Sage wall that effectively blocks off 1/3 of the enemy's potential routes can be a game changer. But this tactic is not without its vulnerabilities. Defenders are left with only one spot to fight the players attempting to break through the wall, the top of the wall itself. So if left unchallenged, Sage's wall denies more than 1/3 of the map to the attacking team while allowing Sage and her teammates to stack towards the other choke points, which are A and B main, putting your team in a horrible situation. This is just one example of knowing how the core fundamentals of Split can turn a seemingly good play by the enemy into one that literally makes the game harder for them. And this goes for any agent playing mid. You want to try and bait utility out of agents like nades, flashes, and smokes at the start of the round, so that way when you regroup and hit a site, the enemy doesn't have the entire arsenal to throw at you. But before I continue though, I quickly want to show you this trailer for the new course we've been working on. Have a look.
Hey guys, it's Ye. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing.
The new Ye course is live on ProGuides.com now if you're interested. Now you might wonder, why does it always feel like a fiesta on mid-split? I swear, you pull up breaking the wall or flashing mail and the next thing you know you're raised naded, omen blinded, running for your life. The truth is, defenders are forced to use this utility to hold on to mid because they don't have many safe options to try and defend from. This is why fighting mid can be so beneficial to your team if the defenders are willing to have these fights. Here you can see enemy positions dotted from the most dangerous, which are red, to the least dangerous, which are blue. There are not many safe positions to try and contest mid from, since the mail and vent positions leave you high and dry if you're flashed or stunned. Knowing this information is crucial to not only taking favorable fights on attack, but holding strong positions on defense. Reinforcing the blue and yellow positions with utility is much more favorable for the defending team. While the red positions can be played, the agent playing there needs a plan of escape or support to help in their fight. So even if your enemies do toss everything, including a wall, multiple slows, smokes, nades, and the kitchen sink, you can often just kinda wait it out, and continuously keep applying pressure until they inevitably run out, and then you're able to take some of those duels. Awesome, now you have a good understanding of how you can play around mid, and we can go mid every round and win, right? Well, not really. Mid is just the first step to understanding Split's gameplay. Now let's talk about the sites themselves. B-side is where many enthusiastic pistol rushes go to die, and where the enemy Raze picks up a 3K with a Kobe from downtown. B comes with a ton of challenges for attackers since taking the site itself is difficult in and of itself, and holding onto your plan at Spike feels 10 times harder. When taking B site, I can't stress how important it is to clear out utility that will A, kill your team, or B, split your team up. Mid control helps a ton with this site since if you're able to remove Sage slows, the Raze nade, and the Brim molly, it's just that much more of an advantage for your team. And it's not just the utility that's going to be thrown your way. You need to be worried about the utility that's already set up on the bomb site. It's no secret that Killjoy and Cypher both run the show when it comes to Split. They both provide so much kill pressure on your team without having to ever put themselves at risk. It's crucial to keep their setups in mind whenever you're trying to hit the B site. Look to have agents like Raze, Fade, or Sky use their utility to either break or at least gain information about how they are playing. Many players just write their bomb site off as not an option since they got destroyed one round by poor preparation or lack of info. But limiting yourself to just a single site is not really going to help your chances either. Split is not a map where you can write off areas as no-go zones just because you got outplayed or lost a round going there. Remember, your options as attackers are limited and preparation is key to success. Now, once you're on your way out onto the bomb site, let's talk about what exactly we are playing for. You basically have two options for planting, either for B main or the default safe plant spot. If you can manage to plant for B main, this is almost always the better option since it gives your team the option of spamming the bomb diffuser from B main, and the spike can be covered from heaven if you have a teammate late lurking in that position. The problem with this is unlike other spam heavy sites on Lotus and Haven, the bomb is relatively close to B main, and there aren't many positions for the defenders to shoot from, meaning that they can easily be spammed back or traded by the defenders. Not to mention, trying to plant the bomb in this position leaves the planter exposed to heaven and rafters, which in most cases is just going to gift a kill to the enemy, unless of course you're willing to sacrifice wingman. If you don't have a brave teammate or Pokemon, your other option is to plant safe or default. Now this plant spot is okay, but it forces your team to play on site and back site, meaning if the enemy has utility to clear behind pillar or a raise nade to bomb anyone back site, you're going to find yourself in trouble. The main advice I can give for trying to plant in this location is to make sure your team takes all of the bomb site, including behind the pillar and under heaven. So no more sage walling like it's the old split. If you don't take control of this space and the enemy is retaking, they will have more than enough utility to clear out the back site with almost zero effort. Improving post-plant positioning for attackers could be one way Riot is going about fixing the balance problems that plague the map. Maybe expanding the B main tunnel so attackers have more space to work with, or even adding a new pathway for attackers connecting to the back site, or even straight under to heaven could be an interesting change. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But now let's continue with the less straightforward A site. The A bomb site, the place where dreams are made and crushed in equal measure. The attacking team has a bit more wiggle room here since they can pressure both the site and heaven from A main. But what about those pesky sentinels chilling at the back of A site? It's a question as old as the map itself, and one that can cause some serious hair pulling. The easy answer is to toss some stuns and flashes at them and hope for the best. But let's be real, it's more important that you make sure you're working together with your teammates. There are just too many angles to cover, and someone is bound to take a tumble trying to push onto the site. So make sure you're scaling correctly and securing that first trade, because let's face it, nobody wants to be the first one to go down if their team isn't gaining anything off of it. Once the site is secured, your team is either planting for heaven or planting safe back site. The biggest recommendation I can give is to try and plant on site when the enemy team has weaker weapons, and that way force them to come fight you on site while you're on site with your team. Since if you have your team spread out holding CT, vents, and screens, there is a chance you die and lose weapons to the weaker buy, and any other round planting for heaven is almost always best. Like we see on B site, A site has the same problem. Some well-placed utility will clear out the best positions to defend from the back site. So when the spike is planted for heaven, it gives your team more options to play from ramp, heaven, and site. Outside of actually planting the defending spike, the A site has some must-use tactical advantages that can change the game for attackers. Even if your team doesn't plan on going A on any given round, if you smoke or cage off A main, it forces the enemy team to have a player situated to watch the ramp. If this isn't done every round, then the sentinel players on A are going to have way more value from their kit than if you were to block off this angle. Split is about moving the enemy players around the map as much as possible to make site takes easier. Getting your enemies to over-rotate is a common practice on any map, don't get me wrong. But on Split, where the sites are small and confined, having one less enemy to deal with is a really big deal. The other nice feature about the A site many players don't take into mind is how easy it can be to quickly rotate through CT or vent to the B site if things get out of control. Since the enemy team is likely to rotate through those positions, you might be able to catch them off guard and weaken the other side of the map through A. Always keep track of where the enemies are playing and when they tend to rotate. This information is crucial to perfecting Split macro play. Now, just because A isn't as frustrating as B is to deal with doesn't mean the site is perfect. I mean, someone could literally sit screens with a Phantom and spray down half your team trying to get into site through smoke with little to no risk. Riot could look to expand A main to make it easier for attackers. They could connect sewer to the top of ramp or even create a new route to the site entirely. But the fact is, even after Split's 2 reworks, the map is still flawed when you feel like you need at least 8 rounds on defense to have a fighting chance on attack. And that's all for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the guide, and leave a like if you did. And we'll see you all in the next one.